This is a Sony SSM 14N 5U. It's the same thing as the PVM 14N 5U, except for two small differences. It's in a light gray instead of a dark gray, and as you see on the bottom there, it doesn't have an A and B, it's just the one line. So I like that. Real simple. It's got the same tube, save 500 lines, S-Video or Composite, and I've got S-Video going out into this cheap little Radio Shack S-Video switcher. The last one on here is Composite. I plugged in Composite because I'm going to show that you can do Composite over S-Video. So it's going to be Composite, S-Video, 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 and that's the GameCube right now. I really like this monitor. It's just the right amount of lines. You know, for me, I don't want it to look too sharp, I want it to look really sharp. But like for the old Super Nintendo, the old Nintendo, stuff like that, you know, you're gonna want to have something that looks reminiscent of what you remember. For me, I've got a 14M4U and a 1353 and the JVC TMH150CG. Those are just a little too sharp. You know, almost seems like an emulator. So I'm going to set this down here. There we go. Get that centered. But for the GameCube, it looks really good. You know, for my eyes, in S-Video on this, it looks better than Component on the 13FS100 from Sony or the Toshiba 14AF series. This is just clearer and better. You know, because I've had both of those, and I got rid of both of those. So if you're getting it for GameCube, great. The other thing about it is they're pretty cheap. You can generally get these for $100, $150. That's just great. And S-Video cables are cheap too. Let's see. This cable right here. Online it's listed on eBay as the best S-Video cable for Super Nintendo. I think they're about $8. So, and the switcher up there was $4 at the Goodwill, something like that. For my SCART switcher I paid $80. So, and the quality difference, it's not worth that much money, or if you're just trying to not spend that much money. Oh, that cut out for a second. Okay. I was saying, I like playing the GameCube on this, and I'm going to beat the Wind Waker here on it. Yeah. Plus you can find these pretty cheap. You know, I found 4 or 5 of these locally here in Colorado. $10. I think I got it at church. This one I ordered online, but all the other ones I found, I probably shouldn't have got rid of them, but I did. Another thing I've noticed about these monitors is they always have good geometry. Just straight out of the box, they just have really good geometry. So I'm going to go ahead and switch it over now to the Nintendo in Composite, then the Nintendo in S-Video, so you can see the difference, and to show that it will play Composite over S-Video. So, hit number 4 there, and there we go. Castlevania going. Castlevania going on a top loader. It's RGB modded. So there it is in Composite. Even Composite looks pretty darn good, but it's not going to blow you away. Now I'm just going to plot the plug in the back and switch it to S-Video. Let me pick a spot in the game. That should be good right there. And the audio is coming out of that little Rockville over there. So, pause it. I'm going to switch it over to S-Video. I'll get it a little closer so you can see the difference between Composite and S-Video when I switch it. Much clearer and sharper. I think the NES looks great in S-Video. I wish they would just made it like that stock. Because S-Video, nice and clear and clean. And I'd keep this just for the old Nintendo. For the little desktop setup. Looks pretty damn good. Like I said, they're pretty easy to find. Not quite as good as RGB, but it gives you that vintage feel. So if you see one of these bad boys, you can get it for 50, 80, even 100, 150. The way the prices are going right now, it's well worth it. And again, they're generally cheap, and working on them is really easy too. You open it up, it's only one board as opposed to say the 1353 or the 14M4U. Those have several boards that are just clustered with capacitors, and this one's very simple, kind of scarce with capacitors, and you know, I had no problem replacing stuff on this one, and you know, I just did it for fun. I didn't need it, but it's always good to clean them out, check everything out on it. Yeah. 14N 5U. I like the simple shape of them, the look of them. Not bad, right?